Hello everyone and welcome to the episode that deals with the reported speech. Reported speech is popularly known as the direct and indirect speech. For the better understanding of the students, we are going to mention the topic as direct and indirect in the episode. Thus, here we will be talking about the meaning, types, uses and significance of the direct and indirect speech comprehensively. I am Sakshi Mandwal and our subject expert for today's topic is Ms. Sabah Tariq, lecturer for English at the University of Jazan, Saudi Arabia. After watching this episode, the student will be able to understand accurate meaning and importance of reported speech or indirect speech, to understand the rules for changing direct speech into indirect speech, to use the direct and indirect speech without making any grammatical mistake, to expand and improve the skills of speaking and writing English correctly. What is direct and indirect speech? Direct speech is the mode of narration in which a speaker's words are presented using exactly the same words and are placed within quotation marks.
In grammar, the importance of direct speech and indirect speech cannot be understated. Direct speech refers to the exact way of reporting where we reproduce the words of the speaker exactly within quotation marks, but in indirect speech we report the words of the speaker according to our own words. For example, there is a sentence, Ram said, I want to have dinner at 8 o'clock. In this sentence, we are reproducing exactly what Ram had said in the past. Ram had said, that is, he wanted to have dinner at 8 o'clock. But when we are saying it, Ram said, comma, then a quotation mark starts, I want to have dinner at 8 o'clock. Quotation mark ends. But if we are to report it according to our own words, in our own words, then we would say Ram told he wanted to have dinner at 8 o'clock. So, in the case of the direct speech, we reproduce the words as it is, but in the case of indirect speech, we report those words in our own words. That is the basic difference. While we change a direct speech from while we change a sentence from direct speech to indirect speech, at that time we need to remember certain facts. While we talk about direct speech and indirect speech, we also talk about reporting word and reporting verb or reported speech. For example, in this sentence, in this example, Ram said, said is the reporting verb. It is reporting the words of Ram, and the reported is the things that have been reported. I want to have dinner. So, I want to have dinner is there reproduced. So, in the case of transformation or changing of direct speech to indirect speech, in the process we have to take note of the change of the reporting verb. For example, Ram said turns out to be Ram told or Ram said that, but according to the tense of the reporting verb, the tense of the reported verb changes. If in this given example, Ram said that he wanted to have dinner at 8 o'clock. So, while in the case of direct speech, Ram said, because the word said was in the past form, in the past tense, we are changing changing the reporting verb, that is said to told, and then reported verb want to wanted. So, in that way there are some grammatical rules which have to be followed when we are changing a direct speech or transforming a direct speech into indirect speech.
Read the sentences given below. Dr. Samir said, I love to do this work. Please inform your father that I want to see him. The teacher said. James asked me, could you please open the door for me? Ashok said, I am working hard for the examination. How have you done your English paper? John asked Raju. I have done it quite well. Note that in the above sentences, the mode of narration shows the speech as directly delivered by the speaker. This mode of narration is called direct speech. The speaker is mentioned. What the speaker exactly said is given within quotation marks, that is inverted commas. The first words within the inverted commas begin with a capital letter. The words of the speaker within quotation marks are known as reported clause. Example, the sentence, could you please open the door for me, is the reported clause. Sentence C. The verb that tells us about the exact words of the speaker is known as the introducing verb or the reporting verb. Example, verbs such as said, told and asked are introducing verbs. The comma is used to separate the quoted speech and the introductory verbs. The comma is placed after the introductory verbs when it precedes the quoted speech. For example, Dr. Samir said, I love to do this work. The comma is placed after the quoted speech when it precedes the introducing verb. Example, please inform your father that I want to see him. The teacher said to me. Now look at these sentences. Dr. Samir said that he loved to do that work. Dr. Samir expressed his love for that work. The teacher asked me to inform my father that she wanted to see him. James asked me whether I could open the door for him. Well, James requested me to open the door for him. Ashok said that he was working hard for the examination. John asked Raju how he had done his English paper. Raju replied that he had done it quite well. The mode of narration in which a person reports about the verbal communication taking place between two or more people is known as indirect speech. Here, the meaning of the speech alone is conveyed. The actual words of the speaker are not reported. Note that in the above sentences, the mode of narration shows the speech as reported by someone. This mode of narration is called indirect speech. The quoted speech is not placed within quotation marks but made a part of the main sentence. Since the quoted speech is no longer treated as a separate utterance, the first words in the quoted speech are not written in capital letters. No comma is used before the quoted speech. Some modifications have been made while changing from direct speech to indirect speech in terms of pronouns. For examples, in sentence A, I is changed to he. In sentence B, I is changed to she. In sentence C, you is changed to I and me is changed to him. Possessive adjective. Examples, in sentence B, your is changed to my. Demonstratives. Example, in sentence A, this is changed to that. Tenses. The present tense of the 10 quoted speech in sentences A and B is changed to past tense in the indirect speech. Love becomes loved, want becomes wanted. A conjunction is used to join the quoted to the main sentence. For example, in sentence A, Dr. Samir said that he loved to do that work. In sentence C, James asked me whether he could open the door for him. Sentence C, which is an indirect question, has the following changes. The auxiliary is not placed before the subject. A full stop is used in place of the question mark. For example, James asked me, could you please open the door for me? James asked me whether I could open the door for him. Significance of reported or indirect speech. There are many reasons for not quoting a person's exact words. We may not remember exactly what was said. Moreover, the exact words may not be important or may not be appropriate in the situation in which we were reporting. One way of reporting what someone has said is to repeat his actual words. For example, I know much about him, Juhi said. A sentence like this is called a quote structure. The quote structure is also called direct speech. Instead of reporting Juhi's exact words, the writer could have said, Juhi said that she knew much about him. A sentence like this is called the report structure. The report structure is also called indirect speech. A quote structure, that is direct speech, consists of two clauses. One clause is the reporting clause, which contains the reporting verb. I know much about him, Juhi said. The other clause is the reported clause. This clause indicates what someone said. I know much about him, Juhi said. A report structure, indirect speech, also consists of two parts. One part is the reporting clause, which contains the reporting verb. Look at the following sentence. Indirect speech. Juhi said that she didn't know much about him. In the above sentence, Juhi said is the reporting clause, and she didn't know much about him is the reported clause. In indirect speech, we usually put the reporting clause first in order to make it clear that we are reporting rather than speaking directly ourselves.
While discussing direct speech, indirect speech, we need to remember certain rules. The rules regarding question sentences are different from the rules regarding commands or advice or exclamatory sentences. In the case of question sentences or interrogative sentences, the reporting verb is changed to something like asked, while in the case of commands or advice, it is changed to something like request, commanded, etc. On the other hand, in the case of exclamatory sentences, the reporting verb is changed to exclaimed, surprised, expressed is surprised, etc. For example, let us take the example of a interrogative sentence. Someone is asking a question. The teacher said, give me the answer immediately. This is the sentence which is asking for something. The teacher asked the student to give the answer immediately. But in the case of, for example, command, he said, shut the door. It is changed as he commanded to shut the door. Although we can also use he asked to shut the door. In the case of exclamatory sentences, there is the expression of exclamation or surprise or emotion. Sita said, oh my God. That is reported as Sita exclaimed, in that way. So, different types of sentences have different rules. So, we need to remember those things. Apart from these, we also have rules regarding far and distance. In the case of, for example, now, it becomes then. In the case of here, it becomes there. There is a sentence, for example, I do not, Ram said, I am not comfortable here. If we want to change this sentence into indirect speech, we would say Ram said that he did not feel comfortable there. Similarly, if this sentence is Ram said I am not comfortable now, then we say, while changing it in indirect speech, we say Ram said that he did not feel comfortable then. So, in that way, here becomes there, now becomes then. So, in the case of reported speech or indirect speech, it is always the distance which takes precedence.
When changing direct speech into indirect, certain grammatical changes have to be made. The following rules will make the whole thing clear. Rule 1. If the reporting verb is a past tense, the tense of the verb in the reported speech must be changed to the past tense. To work out this rule in detail, the following special rules must be observed. The present tense in the reported speech must be changed to the corresponding past form. In other words, we should change shall into should, will into would, may into might, can into could, come into came, is coming into was coming, has come into had come, has been coming to had been coming. Look at the following sentences. Direct, he said, Ram shall come. Indirect, he said that Ram should come. Direct, he said, Ram will come. Indirect, he said that Rama would come. Direct, he said, Ram may come. Indirect, he said that Ram might come. Direct, he said, Ram can come. Indirect, he said that Ram could come. Direct, he said, Ram comes, which is simple present. Indirect, he said that Ram came, simple past. Direct, he said, Ram is coming, present continuous. Indirect, he said that Ram was coming, past continuous. Direct, he said Ram has come, present perfect. Indirect, he said that Rama had come, past perfect. Direct, he said Rama has been coming, present perfect continuous. Indirect, he said that Ram had been coming, present past continuous. Direct speech, he said I am happy, present tense. Indirect, he said that he was happy, which is past tense. Direct speech, I said to him, you are intelligent, present tense. Indirect speech, I told him that he was intelligent. Past tense and you changed to he, the person of object of reporting verb. Change in time. Time is changed according to certain rules like now is changed to then, today to that day, tomorrow to next day and yesterday to previous day. Examples. Direct speech. He said, I am happy today. Indirect speech. He said that he was happy that day. The simple past tense in the reported speech is often but not always changed to the past perfect. As direct, Ali said, I drank water after the meal. Indirect, Ali said that he drank water after the meal. Past. Direct, he said it rained last night. Indirect, he said that it had rained the previous night. Past perfect. The past continuous tense in the reported speech must be changed to the past perfect continuous. As direct, he said Shyam was dancing. Indirect, he said that Shyam had been dancing. Direct, he said Raj was playing hockey. Indirect, he said that Raj had been playing hockey. Note, exception to rule 1. If the reported speech relates to some universal or habitual facts, the simple present tense in the reported speech remains unchanged. As direct, he said, man is mortal. Indirect, he said that man is mortal. Direct, he proved the earth is round. Indirect, he proved that the earth is round. Direct, Sita said virtue has its own rewards. Indirect, Sita said that virtue has its own rewards. Rule 2. If the reporting verb is a present or future tense, the tense of the verb is not changed at all. Direct, the servant says the tea is ready. Indirect, the servant says that the tea is ready. Direct, the teacher will say the boy was dull. Indirect, the teacher will say that the boy was dull. Rule 3. Change in pronouns and possessive adjectives. Pronouns and possessive adjectives of the first and second person in direct speech are changed to indirect speech. I, you, singular, my, your become he, she, his, her. We, you, which is plural, our, your become they, their. Examples. Direct. Rama said, I am ill. Indirect. Rama said that he was ill. Direct. He said my pen is lost. Indirect. He said that his pen was lost. Direct. Ali said to the beggar, I know you. Indirect. Ali told the beggar that he knew him. Direct. Raju said to the girl, I know you and your aunt. Indirect. Raju told the girl that he knew her and her aunt. Direct. I said to the boys, you should do your duty. Indirect. I told the boys that they should do their duty. Note 1. If the person addressed reports the speech, the second person pronoun is changed to first. For example, direct. He said to me, you are stupid. Indirect. He told me that I was stupid. Note 2. Sometimes the pronoun he in indirect speech stands for several different persons. In such cases, we should either insert in brackets the names of the persons or refer to or use nouns instead of pronouns where possible. Direct. He said, I approve of your partnership with him. Indirect. He said that he approved of his partnership with him. Or he said that he approved of his, which could be Mohan's partnership with him. In this case, could be Sohan. Rule 4. In the reported speech, words expressing nearness are changed into words expressing distance. Thus, now becomes then, this becomes that, these become those, hither becomes thither, here becomes there, hence becomes thence, thus becomes so, come becomes go, today becomes that day, tomorrow becomes the next day, yesterday becomes the previous day, last night becomes the previous night, ago becomes before. Direct. The teacher said, I am busy now. Indirect. The teacher said that she was busy then. Direct. He said it may rain tomorrow. Indirect. He said that it might rain the next day. Direct. He said last night I met a fool. Indirect. He said that he had met a fool the previous night. Direct. He said I met this man 2 days ago. Indirect. He said that he had met that man 2 days before. Note. Please remember that if this, here, now, etc. refer to things present before the person during the delivery of the speech, no change is required in the reported speech. Direct. Afzal said, this is the pen I like. Indirect. Afzal said that this, the pen in his hand, was the pen he liked. Direct. The leader said, I will fight now or never. Indirect. The leader said that he would fight now or never. Direct. Benny said, here is the stick we have been looking for. Indirect. Benny said, pointing to the stick in his hand, that here was the stick they had been looking for. Statements. Statements in the indirect speech are generally introduced by the conjunction that. Direct. You said to me, I don't think I can oblige you again in this way. Indirect. You told me that you did not think you could oblige me again in that way. Direct. He said the rain that fell last night had prevented me from going to the party. Indirect. He said that the rain that had fallen the previous night had prevented him from going to the party. Direct. He said to me, I have never seen such a lazy boy as you are. Indirect. He told me that he had never seen such a lazy boy as I was. Direct. The teacher said to the girl, I know you and your mother. Indirect. The teacher told the girl that he or she knew her and her mother. Questions. In reporting a question in indirect speech, the introductory verb is changed to asked, injured, demanded. Whether or if is required after such introductory verbs whenever the direct question admits of one of two answers, yes or no. The note of interrogation which is placed after questions in the direct form is not placed after questions in the indirect form. Direct. He said to me, do you know the way? Indirect. He inquired me if I knew the way. Direct. The teacher said to me, what are you doing? Indirect. The teacher asked me what I was doing. Direct. Benny said to me, when will you return? Indirect. Benny asked me when I would return. Direct. He said to me, why did you write to me such an insulting letter? Indirect. He demanded of me why I had written such an insulting letter to him. Commands and requests. In reporting a command or request in the indirect speech, the introductory verb is changed into request, beg, implore, entreat, order, command, advise, threaten, etc. The verb in the reported speech is put in the infinitive. Direct. He said to me, give me your pencil. Indirect. He asked me to give him my pencil. Direct. She said to the students, do not make noise. Indirect. She forbade the students to make a noise. Direct. I said to the teacher, please explain this question to me. Indirect. I requested the teacher to explain that question to me. Direct. He said to the servant, leave my house at once. Indirect. He ordered the servant to leave his house at once. Direct. The teacher said to the students, work hard and be regular in your work. Indirect. The teacher advised the students to work hard and be regular in their studies. Direct. Shoot the prisoner, said the tyrant. Indirect. The tyrant commanded them, that is the soldier, to shoot the prisoner. When let in the direct speech expresses a proposal or suggestion, we may use should and change the reporting verb into propose or suggest. Direct. She said to us, let us have some music. Indirect. She proposed or suggested to us that we should have some music. But when let does not express a proposal, it should be changed into might or might be allowed or into some other verb according to the use or sense. Direct. He said, let me have some tea. Indirect. He wished that he might have some tea. Direct. Ali said to his friends, "Let me do my work, please." Indirect. Ali requested his friends that he might be allowed to do his work. Exclamations and wishes. In reporting a wish or an exclamation in the indirect speech, the introductory verb is changed into wish, bless, pray, cry, explain, declare, etc., with such phrases as with delight or joy, with regret, with sorrow, where necessary. The interjections and exclamations such as "oh, well, hooray, alas, brave," curse it, or omit it, and their sense is expressed by means of phrases. Direct. "What a terrible storm it is," he said. Indirect. He exclaimed that it was a terrible storm. Direct. She said, "Alas, how foolish I have been." Indirect. She confessed with regret that she had been very foolish. Direct. He said, "Goodbye, friends." Indirect. He bade goodbye to his friends. Direct. They said, "Hooray, we have won the match." Indirect. He exclaimed with delight that they had won the match. Direct. She said, "Oh, what a beautiful flower that is." Indirect. She exclaimed joyfully that that was a very beautiful flower. Direct. "What a horrible sight," we all exclaimed. Indirect. We all exclaimed that it was a very horrible sight. Direct. "Alas, I have broken my brother's watch," said he. Indirect. He exclaimed sorrowfully that he had broken his brother's watch. Direct. "How beautiful she is," said Boone. Indirect. Boone exclaimed joyfully that she was very beautiful. Conclusion. We hope that after watching this episode, the learners can understand that in direct speech, the original words of person are narrated, no changes made, and are enclosed in quotation marks. While in indirect speech, some changes are made in original words of the speaker because these words have been uttered in past, so the tense will change accordingly and pronoun may also be changed accordingly. In indirect speech, the statement of the speaker is not enclosed in quotation marks. The word "that" can be used before the statement to show that it is indirect speech. Indirect speech is also called reported speech because reported speech refers to the second part of indirect speech in which something has been told by a person. We should also remember that the verb in the first part of the sentence, that is he said, she said, he says, they said, she says, before the statement of a person is called reporting verb. In all of the following examples, the reporting verb is said. He said, "I work in a factory." Direct speech. He said that he worked in a factory. Indirect speech. They said, "We are going to cinema." Direct speech. They said that they were going to cinema. Indirect speech. And the second part of indirect speech in which something has been told by a speaker, which is enclosed in quotation marks in direct speech, is called reported speech. For example, a sentence of indirect speech is, "He said that he worked in a factory." In this sentence, the second part, "he worked in a factory," is called reported speech, and that is why the indirect speech as a whole can be called reported speech. We should also remember the following fundamental rules which are already discussed in the episode for changing direct speech into indirect speech. Reported speech is not enclosed in quotation marks. Use a word "that." The word "that" is used as a conjunction between the reporting verb and the reported speech. Change in pronoun. The pronoun or subject of the reported speech is changed according to the pronoun of reporting verb or object, person, of reporting verb. First part of the sentence, sometimes the pronoun may not change. That is all that we had for you for today. We hope you enjoyed the session. See you again. Till then, thank you and namaskar. you.